Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, we can start. Prabhu.
We can start, right? Okay.
Prabhu, I've made you a co-host. You can share also. Yeah, yes.
Mobile also you can make it, yeah.
Okay, Prabhu.
Just let me keep my... Are you able to hear my voice, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavada Sevayam Bhagavatir Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Nigamakal Phalam Sugamukatamrta Drava Samyutam Vivata Bhagavadara Samalayam Mukurakora Sikhabu Vibabukaha Shanvatam Swahadaha Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtanaha Hridayantastohe Abhadrani Vidunoti Sugrutsatam. Hare Krishna devotees, thank you very much for engaging me once again in this wonderful service. Today it is very, very auspicious day. So throughout India, they are all celebrating by the name of different names, Mahar Shankranti. And in Tamil Nadu, they celebrate as Pongal, harvesting. The first harvest, they prepare a sweet Pongal and offer to the Almighty. And Lori and Uttarayan in North India, they celebrate Uttarayan very greatly. And Bihu, Paush, all these things, different places, Punjab, Orissa, West Bengal, they are all celebrating this very auspicious day. And as devotees, this particular day is very auspicious for us because on this particular Mahar Shankranti day, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas. At a very young age, he took the sannyas. And also the Ganges appeared in this earth on Mahar Shankranti day. And also Bhishma Pitama, after fighting a great battle against Krishna, then this is the day he left his body. Mrityu, Icha Mrityu. He was just looking for an auspicious day, and Krishna was present in front of Bhishma Pitama when he was leaving the body. So the disappearance of Bhishma Pitama has also happened on this particular day. So today we are going to try to understand a very beautiful chapter in Bhagavatam, Dhruva Maharaj, like how we are talking about Prahlad Maharaj. So similarly, Dhruva Maharaj also is one of the greatest devotees of the Supreme Lord. So he is returning home. This particular chapter is titled, this is in the 4th canto, chapter 9, and this is called Dhruva Maharaja Returning Home. If you see this particular chapter, it begins with Maitreya and Vidura conversation. So we need to understand where they started this conversation. This particular conversation, of course, when Uddhava was telling Lord Krishna is going to end his pastimes and is going to leave, and Vidura was very, very eager to understand about so many instructions which Lord Krishna was given to Uddhava. And Uddhava was instructing, I am not the fittest person, you have to go and check with Maitreya Muni. So that is how the Maitreya and Vidura, they were meeting each other. Despite Vidura was the greatest Vaishnava comparing to Maitreya Muni, but still Vidura was following the principles of the Parampara system, hearing from a disciple, hearing from the senior authority. So he was approaching, and thus this conversation has started. When we wanted to understand about this particular conversation, how this conversation has started, if you see our earlier chapters, one are in the same canto, if you see some 2 chapters earlier, Maitreya was talking about the devastation which has happened. And then subsequently, how the Swayambhuva appeared. So from there, this conversation, it is related to that conversation. So Swayambhuva Manu appeared, and he wanted to establish the progeny as per the instruction of Brahmadev. Because Brahmadev, we all know that when he was making, created Sanat Kumara is refusing. They said, no, we are not interested, and Brahmadev was very much upset. Then subsequently Swayambhuva came, and Maitreya Muni is talking about the Swayambhuva, how this progeny through Swayambhuva was created. So he was talking about Satarupa and Uttanapada, two sons. So this Uttanapada was having two queens, one is Suniti and another one is Suruchi. So this Dhruva is son of Suniti, and when he wanted to sit in the lap of his father, Suruchi has make him like humiliation was done by Suruchi, and this small little boy Dhruva was very much upset. And that is how this conversation begins, and he is keep on explaining the conversation. Then how Dhruva wanted to do the great penance. So he was coming to the forest, and after everything is finished, now Dhruva is returning home. So this is how the conversation is continuing here. So now let us read the first two verses of this particular chapter. I'll share this also to you. 1 minute.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, you want us to share the screen? We can do that.
Okay, if you want, you can do that, yeah, because I need to move to a couple of times. Yeah, you can do that.
Hare
Yeah.
Krishna. Rohini Mataji, could you please share the screen? Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Okay, I'll be reading this verse. We are reading from Canto 4, Shrimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 9, Sloka number 1. Maitreyo vacha tayevam vutsannabhaya urukrame kritavanamaha prayayushtri vishtapam sahasra sirshapi tato garutmatha madorvanam britya ditrakshaya gataha. Somebody wanted to read, or we will go for translation? Maybe one or two people
Whatever
can read
you
those.
tell us, Prabhu.
Yeah,
Want
maybe
us to
three
read the-
Matajis can read. Three devotees can read. Matajis, Prabhujis mixed, they can
So,
read. Three people.
okay, so one should read the translation, one the verse and one the purport. Is it?
Yeah.
Hare
Translation
Krishna.
word to word we don't want.
Hare Krishna. Sure. Rohini Mataji, you can read the verse. Devotees, please raise your hands if anybody wants to read. Otherwise, I'll go ahead with, okay, Suma Mataji, the translation, and Barnali Mataji, the purport. Rohini Mataji, the verse.
मैत्रेयुवाच त एवम् उत्सनभय उरुक्रमे कृतावनामाह प्रयूयुस्त्रिविस्थपम् सहस्रशीर्षपि ततो गुरुत्मता मधोर्वनं भृतदिद्रक्षया गतः. Sorry, Prabhuji, if there was any mistake.
No issue.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranams Prabhuji. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. The great sage Maitreya told Vidura, when the demigods were thus reassured by the personality of Godhead, they were freed from all fears, and after offering their obeisances, they returned to their heavenly planets. Then the Lord, who is not different from the Sahasra Shirsha incarnation, got on the back of Garuda, who carried him to the Madhuvana forest to see his servant Dhruva. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
This
Mataji,
purport,
thank
let
you.
us hold it for purport sometime. After I give an explanation, we'll go for the purport. So
Okay.
only for this verse, let us hold the purport for some time. So Maitreya is continuing here. Before we understand, let us know, because here in the translation, if you see, what it says is, demigods were thus reassured by the personality of Godhead. They were freed from all fear. So what is the reason these demigods were getting afraid? They are all fearing. So we need to understand a little about why the demigods were approaching the Supreme Lord. And thus this particular chapter begins. Like I told you, this Dhruva, he wanted to take revenge on his father actually, because the father has sort of, the foster mother has sort of humiliated Dhruva, and he wanted to become bigger than his grandfather, for that matter, bigger than Brahmadev he wanted to become. He wanted to become the topmost in the particular progeny, particular family. So I'm just cutting short the story. He was meeting Narada Muni, and Narada Muni has given him one mantra, special mantra, so that Durva can go and practice that. And Narada Muni is advising him, so you can go and meditate. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This is the mantra. Like when we are getting it from the disciple, when we are getting it from the spiritual master, when people are taking Diksha, so the spiritual masters are giving the special mantra so that they can recite that. So here, Narada Muni is giving this Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This is known as Dvadasha Akshara. Dva means what? 2. Dasa means 10. So 12 Aksharas. So if you split this Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva, it comes 12 words. So that is called, it is Dvadasha Akshara Mantra. So this was given to Durva by Narada Muni. So this is generally chanted by the Vaishnavas. This is called as Pranava Mantra or Omkara Mantra because it starts from Om, right? Om Namo. So this is called Om, called Pranava. Generally, it is given only to Vaishnavas. They have certain qualifications. Other than Brahmanas, this is not supposed to be chanted by any other community. For example, Kshatriya, Shudra, Vaishyas, nobody should do that. We all know that Dhruva Maharaj is a Kshatriya. But when he took refuge under Narada Muni, so the spiritual master is having so much of authority. He is empowered by Krishna that he can do whatever he wants for the benefit of that particular soul. Like how Srila Prabhupada, when the whole community was protesting Srila Prabhupada that as a sannyasi you are not supposed to cross over the ocean. But still Srila Prabhupada went and he took the empowerment. Krishna has completely authorized. His spiritual master has completely authorized. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati said, you have to go to Western country to preach. So similarly here, Narada Muni has taken the empowerment and he has given this particular mantra to Dhruva Maharaj. So Dhruva Maharaj, he has also given some instruction how you should meditate. So he was telling you have to meditate worshipping the deity and chanting the mantra 3 times a day. He is giving sort of a preliminary instruction how a devotee has to worship the Supreme Lord. And he is telling, you can do like this, you can do all the paraphernalia usages and all, everything he was described. But he was advising specially to Dhruva Maharaj, stating that you need to meditate the Supreme Lord by imagining yourself on his different incarnations. The personal potency of the Supreme Lord, you bring it in your mind along with chanting this particular mantra. Generally, we all know that, right? Devotional service means it is recommended to have 9 processes. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam. We all know that. But here, Dhruva Maharaj is advised not only to meditate on the particular mantra, but also meditate on the form of the Lord, his different incarnations. Krishna says, Janma Karma Chame Divyam Evam Yoveti Tattvadaha, right? The transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Lord, one who remembers, one who knows. So here, Narada Muni is advising Dhruva, you need to do that. So you have to worship the form of the Lord along with, that is, this is also a recommended paraphernalia. We can simply think about the Supreme Lord. When we are doing it, it is not necessarily physically you have to keep all the paraphernalia items, the plate, flowers, chandan, conch shell, umbrella, fan. Nothing is required. By meditating on your mind, somebody is in a different place, they don't have all this paraphernalia with them. So the Shastra says that you can simply imagine everything in your mind, stating that you are offering the chandan to the Supreme Lord. You are offering the, what do you say, that fragrant flowers to the Supreme Lord. You are using the conch shell, you are using the fan, you are using the charmer, peacock feather. So everything you can do that. So here, Dhruva was getting such an instruction from Narada Muni. So he was doing as per Narada Muni. So he circumambulated Narada Muni before he going. And he was entering into Madhuvan forest. Vrindavan, we have 12 forests, right? Different forests where Lord Krishna has performed n number of pastimes in Vrindavan. So the Supreme Lord has entered, Dhruva Maharaj has entered into Madhuvan. Madhuvan is full of imprints of Lord Krishna. He has played along with the gopis, he has played along with the cowherd boys, and so many things he has done it in that particular Madhuvan, and it is considered as a very auspicious land in Vrindavan. So it is a sacred place. Even today, when we go there, we can see lot of sadhus, lot of babajis, they sit there and they meditate. So that is the famous place Madhuvan. So this Dhruva Maharaj is entering into Madhuvan, and he is started doing that. Before he went there, he took his bath previous day night. He took his bath in Yamuna river, and he was waiting for the next day morning. So from there, he started. He exactly did 6 months tapasya, penances. So first month, Dhruva Maharaj, he took only fruits and berries. That too, on every third day of the week. For example, he will take third day, sixth day, ninth day, 12th day, like that. For the month, every third day, he was taking the fruits and berries. Then second month, he just changed it into once in 6 days. And that too, he was taking some green leaves, dry grass, everything, just for the sake of surviving. And he wanted to keep the soul together, and he was doing that. Then in the third month, he drank water. And that too, every 9th day, he was drinking that water. So his austerity, his penance is so severe, so strict, and he was doing it exceedingly because he is having that type of sort of a vengeance in his mind. He wanted to get the benediction from the Supreme Lord. And fourth month, he has not even taken that particular water, and he was completely living by controlling. He was inhaling the air only. Air was his food. So he was practicing, and every 12th day he used to do the inhaling, exhaling exercise. It is not an exercise. It is a tapasya. He was doing it on 12th day, 3rd day, 6th day, 9th day, 12th day. Then the 5th month, he completely controlled, and he was standing in a one leg. Like we all know that how Hiranyakashipu was doing it. He was putting his hand up, and he was standing in one leg. So here Dhruva, he has not raised his hand, but he was managing the breathing. So he was completely managing the breathing, and he is standing like a pillar with one hand, and that too in the toe only he was standing, and there is no motion. That means he is not at all moving here and there. And the way the penance, the way the austerity he was started performing, when he was pressing the toe, it becomes so heavy for the earth, so that the earth is started going inside. And when he was completely controlling the air, he was literally bringing the Supreme Lord in his mind, and he has completely tied up the Supreme Lord in his mind. The Supreme Lord has been tied up inside the mind, because that is what previously we said, that through meditation we can do that, right? So here Dhruva Maharaj has completely brought that form. Narada Muni has told you can do the transcendental form, any incarnation you can do that. So here Narada Muni has brought the Supreme Lord's completely the image of Supreme Lord in his meditation, and the Lord is completely tied. You just assume you put somebody inside the room and you are tying it up. They cannot move here and there, right? So literally this has happened to the Supreme Lord. When the Supreme Lord is completely tied up, and the severity of the penance of Dhruva is so heavy, all the demigods in 14 planetary systems, everything, all the living entity, especially the demigods, they were feeling, they were suffocating. They were finding it extremely difficult to breathe. And the fire, the power of the tapasya, it becomes so hot, and everywhere it is generated with so much of heat, like how suddenly you get a cold climate. So similarly, the summer, if it is very heavy, how we are feeling. So all the demigods felt that, and that is why all these people completely, they were going and they were representing that they were requesting the Supreme Lord. So when Dhruva Maharaj is completely capturing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Personality is a refuge for everybody. But here, Dhruva Maharaj has captured that master of all living entities. So the three worlds began to tremble, and the demigod said, "Oh Lord, you are the refuge to all of us. Kindly save us from this. We are experiencing such a thing." So that is how this conversation is beginning for this particular chapter. So Personality of Godhead says, demigods, do not get disturbed. don't worry, this is nothing, but it is one of the greatest devotees, Dhruva, son of King Uttanapata. He is completely absorbed in thought of me, and he is doing that penance, and he has obstructed the breathing process of the universe. So that's what Prabhupada is writing in one of the purports. Like when we are flying in the air, when we are all sitting in the craft, what happens is the weight density of every people is inclusive in that particular air, because the plane is moving in the air, right? So it has to penetrate with certain power to move forward. So how the entire passenger's weight, everything is done, and how the air is penetrated by this particular equipment, like the plane, the machine. So similarly here, the Lord is completely captured, because as a Paramatma, he is living in everybody, right? So the Paramatma is completely captured, and Dhruva has put that. So this severe act of austerities, so Lord is completely giving them protection. He says, don't worry about that. I will take care of this. So that is how the beginning, the translation says, they were all approaching the Supreme Lord. So if we see the first 5 slokas of this particular chapter, it talks about the appearance of Vishnu here, so that we are going to understand in the next sloka. It is Krishna only, expansion of Vishnu. Expansion of Vishnu is an expansion of Krishna only. So he was coming there in the first 5 slokas, and he is standing in front of Dhruva, and he gives empowerment to Dhruva to speak. This is what the first 4 slokas is talking about, first 5 slokas, but we are going to understand the first 4 slokas. Now somebody can read the purport, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The word Sahasra Shirsa refers to the personality of Godhead known as Garbhodakshay Vishnu. Although the Lord appeared as Kshirodakshay Vishnu, he has been described here as Sahasra Shirsa Vishnu because he is non-different from the Garbhodakshay Vishnu. According to Srila Rupa Goswami in his Laghu Bhagavatamrita, the Sahasra personality of Godhead who appeared at that time was the incarnation known as Prishnigarbha. He created planet known as Dhruvaloka for the habitation of Dhruva Maharaja. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So here, from the purport, we should understand who is appearing in front of Dhruva. Now let us understand Prishnigarbha. Prishnigarbha is nothing but Krishna's different incarnation only. So this is mentioned in the particular. When we are talking about the incarnation of Supreme Lord, the first 3 incarnation is called Purusha Avataras. We all know that, right? This is Mahavishnu, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, and Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. This Mahavishnu is nothing but Karanodakashayi Vishnu. So this is the first Purusha Avataras of the Supreme Lord. Then the 3 incarnations, the modes of nature, like Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Here again, the Vishnu, it's appearing in the Mahavishnu, the second, which the Supreme Lord himself is expanding for the modes of nature, for the Sattvic Guna, for the mode of goodness. He has come as Vishnu because he wanted to exhibit the goodness. Then he has given empowerment to Brahma and Shiva for rest of the things. Then subsequently, we all know about the Leela Avataras. So different type of Leela Avataras, some 25 Leela Avataras are mentioned in the Shastras. One such is Prishnigarbha. So it is basically a Leela Avatara of the Supreme Lord. Then Manu, incarnations of Manu, different Manus, right? 14 Manus were coming, right? So like that, the Supreme Lord is making different incarnations, appearance, and this Prishnigarbha is sort of a Vaibhava Prakasha form. What do we mean by Vaibhava Prakasha form? Vaibhava Prakasha is he wanted to perform some Leela for some particular cause. Here for Dhruva, because finally when we are coming to understand about the Dhruva planet in charge is Prishnigarbha. Like we all know that different planets, it is in charge for different expansions of the Supreme Lord. So here the Vaibhava Prakasha form of Mahavishnu, Karanodakashayi Vishnu, that is none other than Krishna, because for performing different type of activities, Krishna is expanding himself. But It is Krishna only. So this Mahavishnu is taking as Prishnigarbha, and this particular form is called Vaibhava Prakasha. Acharya's Vishnu Chakravarti Acharya is writing, Prishnigarbha iti so ayam Treta Yuka avataro lakshyate. Treta Yuga, this entire Dhruva's pastimes has happened in Treta Yuga. That is what Vishnu Chakravarti Thakura is writing. The Prishnigarbha, it has happened in Treta Yuga, and this particular form is standing in front of Dhruva, and it is a four-handed form. Only Krishna is the two-handed form, and rest of them are all, and especially when it is coming as the Vaibhava Prakasha or Leela Avatara. Of course, Ramachandra Bhagavan is a two-handed form. We have certain exceptions like where two-handed forms. When the Supreme Lord is exhibiting certain personal features and all, he will be appearing in the two-handed form. But here it is a Vaibhava. He just came here. So that is what it is mentioned as Lahu Bhagavata Amrita. This appeared is called as Sakasra Shirshaka. Sakasra means what? 1,000. Sakasra Shirsha means 1,000 heads in Sanskrit. But let us not get confused. Oh, this person will have 1,000 heads, like how Ravana was having 10 heads. No, it is not like that. It is a different type of expansions. That means he comes with a different color. He comes with a different bodily features. So that is what it mentioned here as Sahasra Sirshaka. Because the 1,000 heads means he is an omnipotent, right? Omnipresence, it is symbolizing omnipresence everywhere. And wherever he comes, he gives certain knowledge. When we are talking about the Purusha Shukta, Purusha means universal being. So the Sahasra Sirsha Purusha is a 1,000-headed being. That means different type of expansion. We just saw only some 25 as per the Shastra, we saw that. Then we have plenty of other empowerment is there. Satya Vesha Avatara is there. Leela Avatara. So many avatars is coming in different forms. So that is what it is told as Sahasra Sirsha. So one of the thousands is this Garbhodakashayi Vishnu is coming. That is non-different from Vishnu, and he is appearing in front of Dhruva. So Dhruva's prayers, Dhruva was completely kept somebody tied up through his penance, through his austerity, through his meditation. So the Supreme Lord has to appear. So he is appearing as this particular form, Prishnigarbha. Now let us go to the second verse of the particular chapter now. I'll read the verses, then somebody can read the translation and purport. Somebody can read the verse also one time. Savaidya yoga vipaka tivraya hritpadma koshe shpuritam tadit prabham tirohitam sahashaivo palakshya bahi stitam tat avashtam dadarsha. Somebody can read
Hare
all the three.
Krishna. Archana Mataji, the verse. Naimisha Mataji, translation. In Kripa Mai Mataji, the purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Pranam Prabhu. Savaidiya yoga vipaka tivraya Rutpatma koshe spuridam tatit prabham Tirohidam sahasaivo bhaka lakshya Bahistidam tad avastam dadarsha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Pranams.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The form of the Lord, which was brilliant like lightning, and in which Dhruva Maharaja, in his mature yogic process, was fully absorbed in meditation, all of a sudden disappeared. Thus, Dhruva was perturbed, and his meditation broke. But as soon as he opened his eyes, he saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead personally present, just as he had been seeing the Lord in his heart. Happy Makar Sankranti, Prabhuji.
Very bold. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Dandatnam. Hare Krishna, all devotees, happy Pongal. Hare Krishna, Prabhupada ki jai. Am I audible, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Because of his mature position in yogic meditation, Dhruva Maharaja was constantly observing the form of the personality of Godhead within his heart. But all of a sudden, when the Supreme Personality disappeared from his heart, he thought that he had lost him. Dhruva Maharaja was perturbed, but upon seeing his eyes, and breaking his meditation, he saw the same form of the Lord before him. In the Brahma Samhita 5.38, it is said, Premagyan Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. The saintly person who has developed love of Godhead by devotional service always sees the Lord's transcendental form of Syamasundara. This Syamasundara form of the Lord within the heart of the devotee is not imaginary. When a devotee becomes mature in his prosecution of devotional service, he sees face to face the same Syamasundara he has thought of during the entire course of his devotional service. Since the Supreme Lord is absolute, the form within the heart of the devotee, the form in the temple, and the original form in Vaikuntha, Vrindavana Dhama are all the same. They are non-different from one another. Non-different from one another. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
So, through this particular verse and purport, what is the summary of this verse is Dhruva is seeing the Lord. Correct? Because he was kept inside the heart, sort of a meditation time. Now he is seeing the Lord. That is the summary, essence of this particular purport. Now, here it is mentioned about Premanchana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Shantashataiva Kritayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Shundram Achintya Gunaswarupam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yam Shama Shundram Achintya Gunaswarupam. A saintly person who is exactly like a highest form in a Vaishnava, like he is doing everything for Krishna. And he says, and purport, it's mentioned that they will look the form of the Supreme Lord as the Shamasundara. Shamasundara is nothing but the Tribhanga form, we say, right? With the three bend and two-handed form, holding the flute. So that is the Shamasundara form, and all the devotees, generally, they used to meditate on that particular form only. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. Those who are completely into devotional service, they will be looking the form of the Lord. But here Dhruva is seeing the Lord differently. That is what it says. The Shamasundara form of Krishna is inconceivable. Not very easily everybody can do it. It is sort of a personalist. That is, a devotee can also imagine, and impersonalist can also imagine. Though the impersonalist do not believe in the form, but they have a form, right? All the impersonalists, they have a form, two-handed form. So when they are thinking about any form, they don't believe in that four-handed form, 10-handed form, because they feel it is a vacuum. So for them also, if at all you tell them how a human form will be like that, they will imagine their own body, two-handed, two legs form. So that is what it says. This is an inconceivable form of the Supreme Lord. Simultaneously a personal as well as an impersonalist, Mayavadis. It is a self-contradictory form. Though we believe that impersonalists do not believe in the form, it is a self-contradictory. Why? They can imagine only a two-handed form. So the Shamashundara form is actually a two-handed form. So the devotees with a pure heart, under the influence of devotional service. Pure heart means through devotional service, they have to come pure heart. Some of them are doing charity, some of them are donating food. It doesn't mean it is a good quality, but pure heart means they need to perform devotional service. So that devotees can see the Supreme Lord in this Shamasundara form. And also it is mentioned in the Shastras that Shamasundara is not simply a blue color visible. When we are talking about, we are telling, right, Krishna is dark blue color, cloud color, all these things they are telling, right? This is in the mundane world, people are thinking like that. So when a pure devotee is going and he is looking at the form of the Lord, he will be completely a transcendental variegated color with complete eternal bliss. When the bliss, he can imagine the Supreme Lord in different forms, different colors, he can say that, which a mortal eye who is non-devotional cannot enjoy, and such things cannot be visible for the Supreme, for the normal person. So here, Narada has advised Vyasadeva, when some of the forms which how other devotees in the Bhagavatam it has come, how they were doing it, whether it is an impersonalist or personalist, Narada Muni, we all know that Vyasadeva was sort of in a bewilderment, despite having achieved so much of Puranas he has written, he was not getting happiness. His mind, his soul is not at all happy at all. So Narada Muni has met Vyasadeva and he is advising. So Vyasadeva went into meditation, sort of how Brahmadev initially started meditating so that he can understand why he was created, for what purpose, and which job he has to do that. So similarly here, Vyasadeva also did that. Bhakti yogena manashi shamyak pranihiti amale apashyat purusham purnam mayam cha tat apashrayam. This is in Bhagavatam, first canto, 7th chapter, 4th. So he completely fixed his mind. Now we are comparing different type of meditation mentioned in Bhagavatam, and we are comparing to how Dhruva was able to conceive, able to see the Supreme Lord, but physically the Lord was present here. But whereas the rest of the people, that is what we are telling, the Shyamasundara form, why it is telling is, it is not a personal presence of Shyamasundara in front of the great devotee, but they are getting that feeling, they are getting that eternal bliss through the devotion. So here Vyasadeva was getting it completely, he was fixed, perfectly linking it to devotional service, bhakti yoga. There is no small bit piece of materialism, no tinge of materialism was there in Vyasadeva when he was doing, and he saw the absolute, he saw the personality with external energy under his full control. He was able to conceive the Supreme Lord. This doesn't happen very, very easily. Not that you sit in a room, you start meditating and you will be able to get the form of the Lord. No, it is impossible. That is what Lord is telling, right, in Bhagavad Gita. Bahunam janmana mante jnanavan mam prabhatyade. You have to take many birth, you have to take many death. And completely with your knowledge, when somebody is surrendering to the Supreme Lord, they get all this eternal bliss. In Upanishad also, Vasudeva, that is the Supreme Lord, is told as Hiranmayena Patrena. Hiranmayena Patrena means the Supreme Lord is covering a veil. Veil means something, a cover. Muslim girls, they used to put a parta, right? Black color or different color, nowadays they are putting it. We cannot see their face. So similarly, Hiranmayena Patrena means it is sort of an impersonal Brahman. You don't have a Brahman. Only you can see the light emanating from all the sides of the Supreme Lord, but only through a strong devotional service they can see the visible. That means they can see the form of the Lord, the face of the Lord. That is what in the purport, a small portion I am talking about here, I'll be telling. Dhruva Maharaj was doing a yogic meditation in a matured position. He is constantly observing the Supreme Lord in his heart. That small boy, he has completely controlled everything. This hailing, inhaling of his life, where he controlled everything, he was completely focusing the Supreme Lord, and he was able to see the form of the Lord. He was able to visualize the Lord. But all of a sudden, what had happened is he was not able to focus anything. When he was doing that meditation, he controlled, he tied the Lord. But suddenly, he was not able to focus. His meditation has completely gone out. The reason being, the Lord is standing in front of him. Because he was having some form, but that form is not able to visualize by him through the meditation. The reason being, the Lord is standing in front of him. So, it is inconceivable. It is not very easily we can understand all these things. Only a devotion with a high level of devotion, bhakti only, we can do that. So with this understanding, we are going into sloka number 3. So after the sloka, you can read sloka, translation, and purport. This sloka is little with the complex words, so try to listen carefully. Tad darshanena akata shadvashaha shito avanta ankam vinamaya dandavat drigbayam prapshan prapipan iva arbaha chumban iva ashena bhuja iva aslisan. I'll read one more time. Taddarshanena akata shadvasha ashitau avandatta angam vinamaya dandavat trigbayam prapashyam prapipan iva arbaha chumban iva ashena bhujai iva aslisan. Yes, somebody can read.
Hare Krishna. Sharmila Mataji, the verse. Anita Mataji, the purport. And Naimisha Mataji, the, Anita Mataji, translation, and Naimisha Mataji, the purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Taddarshanena gata sadva sakshita avandhatangam vinamaya dandavat drigbhyam prapashyan prapiban ivarbakash chumban ivasena bujair ivashlishan.
Very nice, Mataji.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. When Dhruva Maharaj saw his Lord just in front of him, he was greatly agitated and offered him obeisances and respect. He fell flat before him like a rod and became absorbed in love of God. Dhruva Maharaj, in ecstasy, looked upon the Lord as if he were drinking the Lord with his eyes, kissing the lotus feet of the Lord with his mouth, and embracing the Lord with his arms. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Pranams.
Quoted by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Naturally, when Dhruva Maharaja personally saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face, he was very much agitated in awe and respect, and it appeared as if he were drinking the entire body of the Lord with his eyes. The devotee's love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead is so intense that he wants to kiss the lotus feet of the Lord constantly, and he wants to touch the tips of the toes of the Lord and constantly embrace his lotus feet. All these features of Dhruva Maharaja's bodily expression indicates that upon seeing the Lord face to face, he developed the 8 kinds of transcendental necessity in his body. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Nice, dear. Okay. In this sloka, when we see Vinamaya Dandava Drigbayam Prapashyam, that means Vinamaya means is a prostrating obeisance. We say, right? Dandavat Prana means like when you put a rod, it fell straight. So the Dandavat is, he is doing Vinamaya, prostrating, Dirgayam. With his eyes, he is looking upon the Supreme Lord and he is drinking Prapipan. The small boy is drinking the beauty of the Supreme Lord. So the summary of this verse is the ecstasy of Dhruva. By looking at the Lord, what is happening is, Shrimad Bhagavatam, we are having different type of ecstasies when the devotees are looking at the Lord. So here, Dhruva is getting one such ecstasy. He is drinking the beauty of the Lord, just Dandavat, he has fall down and he is simply raising his head and he is looking at the Lord and he is drinking the beauty of the Lord and he is going into an ecstasy. So here, different type of ecstasies. We all know that gopis, right? Gopis and the cowherd boys, more than the cowherd boys, the gopis. After Krishna has left Vrindavan, they were not in a position to see anything. So that is a time they get an opportunity to meet Krishna and Balaram. All the inhabitants of Vrindavana, they get an opportunity to meet them. It's one of the nicest pastimes. Every kalpa, ending of every kalpa, there is a rare occasion of full solar eclipse happening. So one such eclipse was about to happen and everybody, all the devas, everybody, they used to come to Kurukshetra to take bath on this special occasion. So such thing has happened when Krishna was ruling Dwaraka. As per the astronomical calculation, people, they know in advance when it is going to happen. Even nowadays also we are telling, right? Upfront we are telling the solar eclipse is going to happen, lunar is going to happen. This is will happen in this particular country. Here it will not happen. So like that, so many things are happening, right? So here the Kurukshetra, this is known as Samanta Panchaka. The particular place in Kurukshetra, that is a holy place, Samanta Panchaka. So everybody has decided, all the Yadu dynasty, they have decided, and Krishna and Balaram were there. So they also decided that we have to go. And this news has come to Nanda Maharaj. Because Nanda Maharaj and Yadu dynasty, they were very, very cordial and they were exchanging a lot of communications. And they know that, and Nanda Maharaj was also know that Krishna can come, Balaram can come. They wanted to meet them. So they were all preparing. So all the residents of Vrindavan, they were so happy. Nanda Maharaja was, he is like a king for Vrindavan. So anything he does is for the good of the people. So all the Vrindavan people, all the gopis, cowherd boys, everybody wanted to go. As far as the gopis of Vrindavana is concerned, their lives did not know anything beyond Krishna. They don't know anything beyond Krishna. All the time they were only thinking about Krishna, Krishna, Krishna only. Krishna and Balaram is their life and soul. Especially Krishna is their soul. So the gopis were so attached that they wanted to, a momentarily missing Krishna is also, we know that famous verse in Bhagavatam which says they were cursing Brahmadev. They were telling Brahmadev, you are such a useless creator. The blink of my hair, that is in the eyelids, when I blink my eyelids, the hair closes my eyes and I am not able to see Krishna. That is one of the finest verses in Bhagavatam. So to show that love and affection of the gopis, how great it was there. So the gopis were so happy and they were all going to meet Krishna. And this thing has happened. Nanda Maharaj took them and everybody went there. And when they reached that spot, they saw Krishna. Krishna has not seen them, but they saw Krishna from distant, and they, like how Dhruva was controlling meditation, through meditation he was controlling the Supreme Lord. Here all the gopis were completely embracing mentally Lord Krishna, and they were becoming so ecstatic. They exhibited different bodily signs they were exhibiting, and they were thinking as if Krishna, even when the Rasa Leela was happening, every gopis were thinking that Krishna is dancing exclusively for them. Similarly here, all the gopis, they completely forgot themselves and they are thinking that as if they are hugging Krishna. They were embracing Krishna. They were so ecstatic and mentally they were doing it, which the acharyas are writing, even the greatest yogis cannot get this ecstasy. Despite being so much of devotional service, they are doing it. The greatest yogis, yoginam api sarvesham madgatenantar atmanaka, he is telling, right? Even such great yogis cannot get this ecstasy, which only the gopis can have that, because they were having complete bliss. They were completely dedicated. Their life is not beyond Krishna. So they were having that feeling. And Krishna, being a Paramatma, he can sense that these gopis are having that, and he wanted to give the extra bliss also. And he was also showing through his Paramatma feature, he was also showing that he was also started hugging the gopis. And this bliss, the ecstasy has gone so well. Then Krishna, luckily, he saw so many gopis, and when the elders were speaking, Krishna just came out. And this is the greatest philosophy in the Krishna book. When we read in the Krishna book, Krishna is talking to the gopis and he is telling, my intention is not to leave you, but this is all arrangement by the providence, as if he is a sub-controller of the providence. He is a controller of everything, right? But especially in this Krishna Leela, he is exhibiting that he is like a common person. He is also being controlled by somebody. So he is telling, the supreme controller decision is that I need to leave you people. So I have left. And he says it is like when the strong wind blows, it carries all the items, right? It takes a fragrance, it takes dust, it takes everything. And when the wind stops, all the items will fall at different places. Those will not fall in the same places. So similarly, for me also it has happened. I came, I enjoyed your company. Now the providence instruction, the controller's instruction, I am going out and you people are there and I am in a different place. So this is all these things are there. But if you sincerely pray for me, if you are sincerely thinking about you, definitely Janma karma chame divyam. The same thing Krishna is telling here again. He says, definitely you have developed, fortunately you have developed a great love and affection for me. It will happen for you. So this is one of the ecstasy which the gopis were exhibiting when this thing has happened. Similarly, Brahmadev, after the Brahma Moha Leela, Brahma Vimokana Leela, he was thinking Krishna as a normal person, right? When he realized that it is the absolute truth, Para Brahman, Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan iti Shabdyate. So when he realized this boy is not a normal boy, he is Supreme Lord. Because the Supreme Lord has appeared as Narakriti. Narakriti means as a human being. So that is why Brahmadev got confusion. But Narayana Chaturbahu, he knows Narayana as the 400 form. But here he comes as a Narak. that like a normal human being. But Brahma understood that this is Krishna only. He developed a very great ecstasy. He fall down. That means he fall from his. He is traveling in a small a plane. He was traveling. That Anna, that swan bird takes him. So he jumps from that when he saw Krishna with the four heads. He brought all the four heads in one direction and he did the Dandavat Pranam. Generally, the four heads of Brahma is in different direction, right? But when he fall down, touching the four heads at the lotus feet of Krishna, he brought all together and all the four heads, the four eyes, they were all in full of tears. And that the Acharyas are writing, it is the Abhishek done by Brahmadev for Lord Krishna. So his ecstasy in such a way that he completely surrendered to the boy Krishna, which he was thinking is a normal boy. But when he got that feeling, oh, this is the Supreme Lord, this thing has come. Sarvopati vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha shevanam bhaktir uchyate. So Brahma's crying is one of the form of bhakti anubhav. He was getting a bhakti. Not that simply chanting, not that simply dancing, not that simply doing pada sevana. No, he was washing the feet, the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord with his tears. So this is called Sevanam Bhaktir Ushyate, one of the greatest devotional service in ecstatic love. He has performed it. Similarly, when Akrura's ecstasy also is great. Akrura, Kamsa was sending Akrura. Akrura doesn't know what is the intention of Kamsa. Kamsa wanted to kill Krishna. But Akrura is a great person. He's such a great, what do you say that, a friend, sort of a friend to Krishna. And if we are sending Akrura to Krishna, Krishna will not suspect Akrura. If somebody goes from Kamsa's side, Krishna may think, oh, he's playing something. So he wanted me to take revenge. So he's bringing me. So to eliminate all these doubts, Kamsa is sending Akrura so that you bring Krishna to Mathura, then I will plan to kill him. That is his intention. So when Akrura went, he is entering into Vrindavan forest. So the intention of Kamsa is bad, but Akrura's intention is not that. He is completely a pure devotion. So when he is entering Vrindavan, he simply saw the footprints of Krishna and also the hoof print, the cows and the calves, they are walking, right? When they put pressure on the mud, it can create some impression. So similarly, when Krishna was walking, the footprints was it was showing all the divine marks of Krishna. The divine marks of Krishna like Sankh, Chakra, Gada, Padma. And along with that, a flag and thunderbolt, everything was shown in the floor, in the ground, in the earth. It was showing. So when he saw that, he was in complete ecstasy. Akrura was in ecstasy and he started rolling in that mud. So this is also a sort of an ecstasy. Just by seeing the footprints of Krishna, this man has developed such an ecstasy. So it is a different type of ecstasy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was exhibiting a different type of ecstasy whenever he thinks about Krishna, thinks about Srimati Radharani. So similarly here, Dhruva Maharaj, he was completely agitated by seeing the Lord. In the sense, he was controlling in the mind, controlling in the meditation. Now he is appearing it. So he lost his, consciousness, and he was falling. And he saw the real face of the Supreme Lord, and he is drinking the beauty. That is what this particular verse is talking about. So now let us go into, and also the ecstasy of the devotees. The Supreme Lord is telling in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he is telling, Bhaktera prema vikara deki Krishnera chamatkara, Krishna yara na poye anta kebo char ara. The ecstasy, the pastimes of the Supreme Lord, everything, even Krishna cannot understand how the devotees are exhibiting. That is what it mentioned. Bhaktera prema vikara deki Krishnera chamatkara. Even Krishna is struck in wonder. He cannot estimate how the devotees are exhibiting the emotions. Not that he can simply say, oh, okay, my devotees, when they see, they will cry, tears will come. No. Now we have seen three different type of ecstasy, right? So that is what Krishna himself is admitting. My devotees are great people with ecstasy. Even I cannot understand how they will exhibit their ecstasy. So here Dhruva Maharaj was drinking the beauty, and with that understanding, we are going to the last verse. So verse number 4. Somebody can read the verse because we have short time. Somebody can read the verse. I am not reading. All the three things you can do.
Hare Krishna. Archana Mataji, the verse. Suma Mataji, translation. I'll read the purport. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Archana Mataji.
Little fast, Mataji. We are running short of time. Please.
Suma Mataji, the verse. I will read the
Hare Krishna.
translation and purport.
Satam vivakshantam atadvidam harir ज्ञात्वस्य सर्वस्य च हृदि अवस्थिताः कृताञ्जलिं ब्रह्म मयेन कम्बुना पश्पार्श बालं कृपया कपोले. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yes, translation purport, please.
Hare Krishna. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Although Dhruva Maharaj was a small boy, he wanted to offer praise to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in a suitable language. But because he was inexperienced, he could not adjust himself immediately. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, being situated in everyone's heart, could understand Dhruva Maharaj's awkward position. Out of his causeless mercy, he touched his conch shell to the forehead of Dhruva Maharaj, who stood before him with folded hands. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhu.
Purport, please.
Hare Krishna. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Every devotee wants to chant the transcendental qualities of the Lord. Devotees are always interested in hearing about the Lord's transcendental qualities, and they are always eager to glorify these qualities. But sometimes they feel inconvenienced by humbleness. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, being situated in everyone's heart, specifically gives a devotee intelligence to describe him. It is therefore understood that when a devotee writes or speaks about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his words are dictated by the Lord from within. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter. To those who constantly engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord from within dictates what to do next in order to serve him. When Dhruva Maharaj felt hesitant, not knowing how to describe the Lord for want of sufficient experience, the Lord, out of his causeless mercy, touched his conch shell to Dhruva's forehead, and he was transcendentally inspired. This transcendental inspiration is called Brahma Maya, because when one is thus inspired, the sound he produces exactly corresponds to the sound vibration of the Vedas. This is not the ordinary sound vibration of this material world. Therefore, the sound vibration of the Hare Krishna mantra, although presented in the ordinary alphabet, should not be taken as mundane or material. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So this particular verse, when we say the summary is, the Lord is touching Dhruva with his conch shell. So that is the understanding of this particular sloka. So here in the purport, it is mentioned as Brahma Maya. Brahma Maya is, what is the meaning of Brahma Maya? How to understand Brahma Maya? Why it is mentioned as Maya, Brahma? Brahma Maya is a transcendental inspiration. Generally, what is the meaning of Maya? Maya is which is not, right? It is an illusion, Maya. We consider everything as real and we consider everything as permanent, but which is not actually. So that is a Maya. But here, the Supreme Lord is standing in front of Dhruva, which is real, but he is not believing it. The Maya, we believe every impermanent thing as permanent. But here, the permanent thing, Dhruva is thinking. In the sense he is not believing. That means he is completely in the transcendental inspiration. So that is why it is calling us Brahma Maya, unbelievable. Suddenly, we take some shock in our life. Maybe some ecstatic thing has happened, which you have never believed is happening in your life. Immediately what you will do, you will pinch your hands and say, oh, I wanted to see whether it is real or not. So similarly here, this Brahma Maya is, he got a transcendental inspiration. He has not believed. He was holding the Lord in this meditation mood. But suddenly when the Lord is appearing here, so he started exhibiting some sound. Like that. Oh, I have seen something. When you give a playful doll or very costly chocolate, a small boy and doll, which a boy cannot speak, but he will be producing some sound, exhibiting his joy, attraction towards that item, right? So similarly, Dhruva was making some noise. That's what Srila Prabhupada is writing. It is like chanting the holy name of the Lord. In front of the Lord, you are standing and you are doing something. The child, without any experience, he is doing it. So this is like the Brahma Maya inspired by seeing the Lord. He is exhibiting. So a person knowing the Vedas and making the vibration is to please the Supreme Lord. So similarly here, Dhruva is doing the same thing. By seeing the Supreme Lord, he is completely into a bliss and he is making some noise. Why? The Supreme Lord knows everything and it is in the, as a Paramatma, Maschitta Madgata Prana Bodhayanta Parashparam, he is telling, right? The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. The Supreme Lord is realizing that what feeling this Dhruva is going on. So it is mentioned, he is situated in everybody's heart, as mentioned in the purport, can easily understand Dhruva's awkward position. Dhruva, subsequent verse is going to explain that Dhruva is unable to produce anything else to glorify the Supreme Lord. He is only making. The small child, when you give something, he don't know, I like it, thank you very much, I love you, Papa. Something the child can do, right? But it is not able to do that. The words are not coming completely with inspired the bliss. So similarly, here Dhruva is in such a position. He wanted to speak the Lord's qualities, Vivaknantam, but he doesn't know how to do that. Atatvidam. The word Atatvidam is he doesn't know how to do that. How I am going to glorify the Supreme Lord. So the Dhruva, that is, he is unable to do that. It is a Sanskrit. When we are glorifying to the Supreme Lord, it is a Sanskrit. Brahma Mayena. Vedas is completely a Sanskrit and he has to express everything in the Sanskrit, but he doesn't know anything. He doesn't have any knowledge on Sanskrit. He's a small boy, right? He has not gone for Gurukul. Nothing has happened in his life. If you see the life of Dhruva, nothing has happened like that. Simply he developed some sort of a vengeance and he came, Narada Muni told you do that. Narada Muni has taught him grammar. No, first you have to learn grammar. Then only you have to go. Nothing. He simply gave one mantra. He said, go and tell this mantra. So he does not know anything. And then he came. Then the Supreme Lord kept the shank on the head of Dhruva Maharaj so that he completely going to get the bliss of glorifying the Supreme Lord, which is going to happen from the subsequent verses. But when we talk about the devotees, the glorification of the devotees to the Supreme Lord, we can classify this as three types. One is stuti, one is prayer, one is surrender. When a devotee is seeing the Supreme Lord, they can do any three of these things. So what is a stuti? The stuti is Vijay Rata Kutumpa Atta Totre Dhritahoya Rashmini Tash Triyakshanaye. Vijay Rata Kutumpa Atta Totre Dhritahoya Rashmini Tash Triyakshanaye. Who is telling this? Bhishma Pitama is glorifying. In the Bhishma Stuti, Bhishma Pitama is glorifying the Supreme Lord. Vijaya Ratha, Arjuna's chariot, you have been protecting. He is glorifying the Supreme Lord at the moment of death. Today being the Uttarayana, I don't know, when I was preparing that, I didn't know that Bhishma's disappearance day is coming today. When I prepared this document, I wanted to talk because Bhishma is very, very favorite to me. So I prepared and it is God's mercy I am able to glorify, I am able to remember Bhishma Pitamas on this particular day. It is a great sign and we people are all listening Bhishma's stuti today. So it is a real auspiciousness in our life. So Bhishma Pitama, he is glorifying. And he says, I am concentrating my mind upon the chariot driver, Arjuna. You have protected Arjuna. You have never left Arjuna's suffering. So that is a greatness of you. So this is one type of glorification of the Supreme Lord. And we have plenty of stutis in Bhagavatam, but I have taken only one particular Vijay Rata Kutumba Ata Totre. Then Nalakuvera, Manigraiva. Manigraiva, we can call this as a prayer. We all know the story of Manigraiva and Nalakuvera. They are telling in Shrimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, 10th chapter, Anju nahi na bhumam stavanchura kinkaru darshanam na bhagavata risher ashit anugraha. Anu janihi They are now seeking the permission of the Supreme Lord. Anujahini now baumas. When they are glorifying, they said it is because of Narada Muni we got. So now we take your permission, anugraha, you have to give us. So this is sort of a benediction they are seeking from the Supreme Lord. So in this prayer, what we are understanding is, kindly give me the permission so that we will leave from here and we will go to our place, Kubera's palace. We will go there and we will continue doing the devotion without forgetting you. So they are going to do like that. But here, through this particular prayer, Nalakuvera and Manigreva, they are seeking the permission of the Supreme Lord. So this is the benediction. Sorry, this is the prayer. But generally what happens in the modern days, prayer means we all go and ask for a lot of material benefits, we are taking it. The third form of prayer is Saranagati. In Tamil, we call it as Saranagati, that is complete surrender to the Supreme Lord. The complete surrender is, we all know that Rupa Goswami, what he is telling is, Anya Bilashita Sunyam Jnana Karmati Anavritam. Whatever you do for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, you have to do. That is a complete surrender. But we have a greatest example through Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. When Arjuna was in complete bewilderment, complete confusion, he made a great surrender. Karpanya dosho pagada swabhavaha prashamitvam dharma shammuda shetaha. I am completely confused. I don't know whether to kill my teachers, my friends, my relatives. Completely confused. I am surrendering unto you. So when we are initiating the process for surrender, we need to accept everything favorable for discharging the devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Arjuna has come to that level, right? And he has to reject, we have to reject everything which are all unfavorable for the devotional service. These are all the process for surrendering. And always we need to believe, yes, Krishna is going to protect me. I have surrendered. All these favorable things I have rejected. My personal favorable things, materially favorable things I rejected. Believing Krishna is going to protect. And I am completely, exclusively, I am depending on the mercy of the Supreme Lord. That is also one of the process for surrender. We have to strongly believe, firmly believe. And I don't have any other interest separate from the interest of the Lord. Whatever is the Supreme Lord's interest, that is going to be my interest. Anya Bilashita Sunyam. Supreme Lord interest, what you like, I am going to give it to you. And then you need to be meek and humble. The surrender process means you should never have the heavy-headedness, the false pride, false ego. Nothing should be there. You should be very meek and humble. This is all the process of surrendering. So here Dhruva completely surrendered, and in the subsequent verses are all very beautiful verses. He is going to regret why he came for this meditation. His idea is to get a material affluent. But subsequently, when the Shank was kept on the head of Dhruva, he is going to get the enlightenment and he is going to get what is the real purpose of meditation, what is the real purpose of life. He is going to exhibit. Those things will come in the subsequent verses. So with that, we will be closing our session today. So it is one of the greatest understanding Dhruva Maharaj through the meditation, how he is able to get the darshan of the Supreme Lord. So with that, I'll be ending. I took some 10 minutes extra. Sorry for that. Hare Krishna. If you want any doubts, you want to add any points, we will wait for some time.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Wonderful verses and wonderful explanation, Prabhuji. Anybody wants to ask question? Could either unmute and ask or raise your hands.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. I just want to say, ask something, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams. Prabhuji, in the class we heard that Krishna knows everything, but each and every particular devotee, what he offers, that rasa or some, he doesn't know that, you said, Prabhuji. So I just wanted to understand that. Is it because of that he came as a Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to know how, as a Bhakta, Radharani feels? So is it because of that, Prabhuji?
No, it is sort of one type of understanding is that because we are all covered with Maya and with the material modes of nature, so we don't know, and that independence, free will has been given by Lord Krishna to everybody. So not that you cannot force somebody. If a boy is there, you cannot force a girl, come on, love me. The girl may not like, right? So similarly, Krishna, through the modes of nature, he has given us and he has shown everything. But through certain avatars, through certain incarnations, he was just highlighting which is really beneficial. When we are taking, the child is taking chocolate, when the mother says, it may not listen. Then if you show them what are all the bad effects happen in the health for the chocolate, then the child will slowly stop that. So similarly here, Krishna, as like you said, that is one of the understanding. He exhibited the real transcendental bliss, the real purpose of the supreme, the life of human being is to understand the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Pranams.
Hare Krishna. We'll end the class with prayers, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Yes, Mataji. Yes,
Vancha
please.
kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam
Patitanam
Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah.
Anantakoti
Anantakoti
Vaishnava
Vaishnava Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Grantha Shrimad Bhagavatam ki
Dandavat
Glory
pranam,
to
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, Jai.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
very much, everybody.
I'll end the
Have a
class.
wonderful day.
Prams
I'll end the
Prabhuji.
class.
Thank you.